In the soft embrace of early dawn, Vine's heart was alight with excitement as she genuinely packed her belongings. A secret smile played upon her lips, for she harbored a delightful announcement for her husband. Just a few days prior, she had discovered that she was 5 weeks pregnant. As she stood in front of the mirror, her hand moved of its own accord, gently coming to rest upon her flat stomach. A wave of realization washed over her, and a look of profound joy and wonderment spread across her face. It had been 4 years since their marriage, and she had begun to doubt if the moment would ever arrive. Yet here it was, her very own miracle growing within her. Ryan, Jungkook, you are in for quite the surprise. I'm on my way. She couldn't wait to see his reaction when she gonna share the news of her pregnancy. On the other hand, Jungkook, the dominant and fearsome Mafia leader, was sitting in the grand meeting room in Italy. He was surrounded by members of his inner circle, all of them actually aware of his presence and authority. His dark, intense gaze scanned the room, commanding attention and respect. Despite the importance of the meeting, all eyes were on Jungkook, the powerful and dominant figure who controlled the entire Mafia organization with an iron fist. As he spoke, his deep, authoritative voice filled the room, and all those present couldn't help but feel a sense of respect and awe. His dominant demeanor was unmistakable, and there was an aura of power around him that made it clear he was the undisputed leader of the Mafia. The others in the room, no matter how powerful or influential they were, palled in comparison to his dominant presence and command. His eyes scanned the room, his gaze intense and authoritative. He leaned back in his chair, his expression stern. "Jungkook, we don't want any mistakes," he said, his voice low and commanding. "If you don't want to take your own graves, make sure you understand that. This meeting is dismissed." They quickly stood up and left the room, aware of the consequences if they failed to follow through. He ran his hand through his hair, a rare moment of vulnerability. His thoughts drifted to the woman who graced the wallpaper of his phone. Vine, his wife. Just the sight of her smiling face was enough to soften his cold, dominant demeanor. Despite his fearsome reputation, he secretly treasured her more than anything else in the world. His eyes lingered on his phone, his expression softening into a slight smile at the thought of her. He pocketed the device and rose from the chair, striding out of the meeting room with a renewed calmness. Despite being the powerful mafia leader, he was also a man deeply in love with his wife. After a few hours of a long flight, she finally landed in Italy. She hopped onto a cab, her excitement mounting as she realized how close she was to seeing him. She directed the taxi driver to take her to his penthouse, a place she knew well. As the cab approached the penthouse, she could barely contain her anticipation, feeling a burst of love and excitement to see him. Finally, the cab came to a halt in front of the luxurious penthouse. She paid the driver and stepped out, her heart racing as she looked up the tall, grand building. She took a deep breath before walking towards the entrance. She walked up to the door and punched in the password, her own birthday. The door buzzed and unlocked, and she pushed it open, a sense of familiarity and anticipation filling her as she stepped inside the luxurious penthouse. At night, he entered the penthouse, and a frown crossed his face as he was hit by the unmistakable scent of her fragrance. The aroma immediately caught his attention, and his sense was heightened as he became actually aware of her presence. Despite his usual aloofness, a spark of hope and excitement flickered in his eyes. He raced towards the room, his heart pounding with anticipation as he wrenched open the door. He wasn't prepared for bone-crushing hug that embraced him. Without even realizing it, he found himself involved in a tight embrace, and for a few moments he just stood there stunned. But then, when he recognized the familiar scent and the warmth of the body against his, a wave of joy washed over him. Jungkook, Ryan. With the mischievous grin, she pulled back slightly to look up at him. Ryan, surprise, she said, her eyes sparkling with happiness. She was still clinging to him, refusing to let go just yet. His smile widened as he pressed a gentle kiss on her forehead. "Jungkook, I missed you," he said, his voice low and affectionate. "This week felt like an eternity without you." He tightened his arm around her, pulling her closer, as if he never wanted to